days.
I was thinking more.
It's 5 o'clock. I would like to call the meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Education order for Wednesday, March 25th, 2015. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
I move the board enter executive session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, or legal, property acquisition issues, and student issues, Maryland Local Government Code, Article Section 9-512A, 1, 2, 6, and 10.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I will be back.
Is
I'd
this
like to
down
I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the St. Mary's Board of Education for Wednesday, March 25th, 2015, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our item is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Move approval of the agenda as presented, sorry.
We were all at Maryland Day, so.
Multitasking.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next up is the board reports. So we've all done a lot of things this month, so I encourage everyone to go and read the board reports that Sandra has loaded into board docs. I think we're each going to try and pick and choose, you know, a couple things so as not to each take 20 minutes of letting you know where we've been for the past 2 weeks. So, Sarita, you're up.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say welcome to all of the adult advisors and student leaders of the Drug Summit. Thank you for coming today. We will get more into the recognition later. But for my board report, I'd like to talk about the Leadership Southern Maryland student panel that I participated in. The other St. Mary's County students that attended were Sarah Burr from Chopticon and Emma Gillian from Leonardtown High School. For the responses and for the questions that arose at this panel, Ms. Gillian and Ms. Burr did a fantastic job of giving constructive, relevant responses and bringing up new ideas for these questions. As a takeaway from this panel, I think everyone in the audience gained the knowledge that students want mentors in their communities. So they want to be part of the community. I'm sure many students could agree with me with that. And they want to be part of something that will lead to for their future and help with them with their career in the future. But also this panel highlighted the importance of that communication with students and how many students have very different perspectives about even simple issues such as testing. So that communication between students but also many students is very important. Thank you.
Mrs. Crosby?
I went where all of us went, which was to the St. Clements Island Museum to celebrate Maryland Day. And I was going to wear my Maryland hat, but I left it out in the car. And it's hard to get out there with my walker to go in and out and in and out. Anyway, I saw this beautiful hat around the house, and I said to my husband, "Where'd you get this?" He says, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Take it." Well, it's a wonderful Maryland hat with a pom-pom, and I would have looked so beautiful tonight, but it's out in the car. Anyway, I did wear it to Maryland Day. Then Sheriff Cameron gave a really nice history of his tenure in St. Mary's County, which means he is a St. Mary's Countyan. And he talked about other sheriffs. He gave, I think he said 25 were from St. Mary's County, I believe. And it was very humorous speech, so he's obviously maybe given it before. This is a good one, though. And then I saw a very distinguished man whom I haven't seen in a long time. It was Governor Mandel. And my mother was alive. She lived to be 88. She died with my first year in office. No, I don't think that killed her, by the way. He was 95 years old, and I should just hope, huh? We'll see. Wonderful, Jay, and I won't say any more. I want to leave it for the rest of my friends,
Mrs. Weaver?
if they choose.
I had the privilege to attend the Envirothon. It was more of to get together to practice for their competition that's coming up on April 22nd. And this is Bruce Young. He is from the Soil Conservation Group. Him and quite a few volunteers that he pulled together work with the students from the different high schools to learn about, like they'll learn about the different reptiles, fish, the trees, how old is this tree, is it diseased, different type of soils. Does it have sand in it? Is it clay? So it was a great learning experience for me. There was so much stuff that they were working with the kids on and educating them on, and on that day that they were out at, forget the name of the farm, but it was, it's down on Medley's Neck. So they graciously allow the students to come there. So there's 3 teams right now from the 3 high schools. Each team has 5 students, which they're going to go to. They're having the county competition, and then the winner will go to the state, and then they do have nationals. So that's coming up. And I also want to thank again Dr. Bridget and County Commissioner President Randy Guy. Karen Bailey and I met with them a few days ago, and they went over in detail how their budget system works and why they make the decisions they do, and why like certain dates and everything that they have to look at. So that was quite a learning experience for the 2 of us. I think we were there, like an hour and a half or to 2 hours, that they took time out of their day. And I know this is an extremely busy time right now for them, working on the budget, but they came over so that they could give us a better understanding of how things work. So once again, I want to thank the 2 of them for coming over and taking their time to meet with us.
I have 2 quick items. I'm going to break my own rule, but on March 20th, I attended the 7th Annual Becca Dinner and Auction at Bowles Farm in Clements, Maryland. And it's an annual event that raises money for $1,000 scholarships for graduating seniors from St. Mary's County schools. Mr. Smith opened up the bidding on every item.
And I wore a cowboy hat.
And he wore a cowboy hat.
Not well, but I did.
And won as best dressed. So.
Yes, I'm going to have to get even with Mr. Boyle for that.
Yes. So, and I think just on the live auction alone, they've raised more than $7,000, and there were only 12 items that were on there. So, they also recognized several different individuals that were involved with Becca during the evening, one of which was Mr. Mark Smith from the school system. And he has worked tirelessly over the past several months to put the application process for these scholarships online, and it's very successful. And Dr. Bob Schaller, commented on how much time it used to take for to fill this out, and how it has been reduced based on his efforts. So I think it's great. I know that Becca still has a few more fundraisers. One I think is a basket bingo coming up this Sunday, I believe. So there's still different ways for the community to contribute. Lastly, really quickly, Mrs. Allen and I attended the math challenge that SMECO sponsors for the elementary schools at Margaret Brent Middle School, and that was this past Saturday. So thank you very much for Dr. Marr and Miss Becky Loker for coordinating that, and all of the assistance that you had. I know it was a tremendous effort. The kids had a great time. Congratulations to the 4th grade overall team winner, which was Letty Marshall Dent, and the 5th grade overall team winner was Father Andrew White School in Leonardtown. In addition, they also had individual place winners for both 4th and 5th grade, and they came from Leonardtown, White Marsh, Benjamin Banneker, and Father Andrew White. So great job, and you know, hats off. I know it was a long Saturday morning and an early Saturday morning for a lot of our staff. So that's all I have. Go ahead, Mrs. Washington.
The board members are involved in so many activities, it's very difficult to narrow it down to just one or two. I went to the Maryland Day celebration today, and it was a wonderful event at St. Clements Island. Then to the hoedown at the Becker Scholarship fundraiser. And that was a wonderful event there. There was line dancing, silent auction, in an effort to raise scholarship money for students. I went to the St. Mary's Commission on Women History Month Recognition Program, where they recognize an adult as well as a young person, teen, who has contributed much to the community. Also, one of our partners in the community, Pastor Roderick McClanahan, has been in the ministry for 25 years, and he invited the Board of Education to come to his celebration of 25 years in the ministry. It was a wonderful program, and we appreciate all the efforts they do, all the prayers they do for our students, staff, administrators, and support staff. And I also visited 21 schools, and I read to the students at those schools. I am pleased to announce that our students are doing an excellent job. From my tenure on the board, I see that kindergarten students are doing what second grade students used to do. Our students have a rich vocabulary. Character education is working in the schools, and I appreciate my board members and superintendent for keeping that going, because education alone, the book knowledge is not enough. They need character education as well to make a well-rounded, contributing member of society. Our students, young students, first, second grade, like I say, know words such as self-discipline, and they can explain to you what that character word means. They know perseverance, they know empathy, and they can make connections with a story that I'm reading and the character word that they are learning. And believe me, they can tell you what the word means. One student impressed me. I talked to them about, what do you want to be when you grow up? And one of our students said, I want to be just like my principal, Mr. Carpenter. And that was a compliment to him. His eyes got big as saucers, and this kid just said, I want to be like my principal, Mr. Carpenter, when I grow up. So that was so dear for him to say such a wonderful thing about his principal. So we had a wonderful time. We talked about character, read books about doing the right thing, standing up even if you have to stand alone, and our students get it. I think the future is in good hands with our students. So I thank the teachers, support staff, principals, and administrators, and bus drivers, cafeteria workers, everybody that make it such a pleasant place to be a student in St. Mary's County Public Schools. And we have a lot to be proud of here, because if you visit other school systems around the state of Maryland, it breaks my heart to see that some of them are not doing as well as we're doing. This is a community that believes in public education and education for all students, that all students are treated fairly, and we believe all students can and will learn. So a great thanks even to the Board of County Commissioners who fund our budget, and we're working on getting funding so that we continue the progress that we are doing. Because after all, education is economic empowerment. People will not want to move to a community if we have poor performing schools. And we have that going on here. Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you, board members and the community for what you do for us. And the military community as well. The base is always willing to help. We have so many partners, and we owe a debt of thanks to them as well. So thanks to everybody. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Mrs. Allen?
To piggyback on the SMECO Math Challenge, not only did we have current employees who were assisting with that, but also quite a few of our retirees came back to do that. So as they are working to make sure that the students who are in the cafeteria are going through the lightning round, they're tossing out questions. They now have them up on a screen so that everybody can see them as they're going through that while they're waiting for others to be grading or checking the tests that they've all been working on. So there's a lot going on in front of us, but also a great deal going on behind the scenes, and it is truly a commitment to not only put that on, but to it's amazing to bring that number of people back who want to continue to be involved, and it's absolutely wonderful. The other thing I want to talk about is the Board of County Commissioners' recent budget work session that they did. It really asked great questions and had done their homework, and I'm really optimistic about the budget that they're bringing forward to public hearing, and I would encourage you to pay attention to that. Those are our tax dollars, and we want to make sure that those tax dollars are being utilized in the way that we understand and that we expect, and whether that's for public safety or libraries or the public schools, whatever is important to you, it's important that you understand and that you follow along. Their public hearing will be coming up soon, and I know that we will all be there, and I appreciate the work that the commissioners are doing and the tone they're setting and their willingness to sit down with us and have conversations about what our budget is and what we're trying to accomplish. So they're doing a great job. So thank you very much. That's it.
And just to continue on that same conversation, we have been over to the county commissioners, and we have certainly followed along with the budget process, and we've been having great conversations. And my hat's off to all of the people in fiscal services here in St. Mary's County Public Schools, as well as a shout out to Miss Tammy McCourt, which I believe she's hiding way in the back. The paper has stated that we're going to receive $2.3 million over the allocation from last year. That's part of the story. The other part of the story is that historically St. Mary's County Public Schools has received about $2 million that has gone from their fund balance, the county's fund balance, directly to OPEB, to other post-employment retirement benefits. They have allocated that money in the 2016 school year to be used for recurring funds. So I know that Commissioner Morgan made quite a point of stating that the budget that's going forward is $4.4 million over last year's allocation above maintenance of effort. So that's a very hopeful and positive number, especially considering the economic forecast that's been provided to them for the 2016 school year. We also have submitted for the county's consideration a supplemental request of about another $1.6 million to take out some of our technology leasing. So we really do believe this is a good conversation, and I hope that the conversation continues as we go through the public hearing and we hear from people in the community, and we come back through and we craft what is a really great comprehensive budget for the entire county of St. Mary's County. Of course, I'm going to be most concerned with the school system, as is our want. So it has been a really good conversation. Excuse me. I continued with observations. I went to Leonardtown Middle School and saw Ramia Burns and Stephanie Brindle in a reading language arts class where we were talking about writing persuasive essays and how to go about arguments and how to construct or recognize counter arguments. Because an argument without recognizing a counter argument is like listening to T-Bone and Heather. Oh, that's not fair. I'll pay for that. I'll pay for that.
Yes, yes, you will.
Yes, I will.
Oh, you are living dangerously. Oh.
The whole system listened today. So I did some other observations. Amanda Knoble, who's a counselor at Fairleigh 2, it's really wonderful. When we think about a counselor, we maybe don't think of some of the less traditional things that they do. She was meeting with a college study skills, a college skills success group over at Fairleigh 2, talking about what the children can be doing now in their junior and senior year to make sure that they're successful when they go off to college. It was a really great observation and interaction and conversation with kids. And just yesterday, up at Margaret Brent Middle School, Mrs. Fioravante, they call her Miss F, all talked about adaptation and speciation, and she had her, it's a leopard chameleon. And that is actually the chameleon that you see when you watch the paint advertisement where it changes colors. That's actually a leopard chameleon, and this is what this was. And of course, as it's a leopard, they call it Margaret for Margaret Brent. They're the Margaret Brent leopards. Fantastic classrooms, fantastic conversations, great instructions going on throughout the county. I would like to finish where we started, back with Ms. Sarita Lee and Leadership Southern Maryland. Before all the high school students came out and talked to them about their high school experience, they had the three superintendents from Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's County, and they grilled us. They gave us some really hard questions, and then we all waited and stayed to see how the high school students did, and let me tell you, they did a much better job than the superintendent. So thank you to you and Sarah and all the students who participated. I mean, it was fantastic. You did us very, very proud, and thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is St. Mary's County Middle School Spelling Bee. Ms. Michelle Gallant-Wall. And no one even coached me on that, so.
Did you take French?
No, Spanish, sorry.
Sounds exciting. I just want to piggyback on something that Mr. Smith said. I can't help myself. When he mentioned Amanda Knoble, she was a former Chopticon High School graduate. And I'm just amazed at the number of graduates that have come back to teach in our system, and it's just great to see them. So I had to say that. I know Amanda's not here, but I couldn't help myself. On March 3rd, we hosted the 37th Annual Middle School Spelling Bee at Leonardtown High School. And the bee is sponsored by some local community organizations, the Enterprise, SMECO, the College of Southern Maryland, and Cheney Enterprises. Miss Kathy Allen was our caller, and this year was a really fun spelling bee. We've never had a reserved word list ever, but for some reason this year we decided we're going to have a backup list, and we needed the backup list. We used 144 words and 13 rounds of spellers. It was amazing. So tonight we're going to recognize our 3 top spellers, and they're all from St. Mary's County Public Schools. So when I call your name, if you could come on up, we have a certificate for you. Our 3rd place winner is David Marino from Margaret Brent Middle School. Okay, 2nd place is Remy Duarte from Chesapeake Public Charter School. And 1st place, he won spelling the word entourage. How many of you can spell that? Mark Bollier from Spring Ridge Middle School.
I would ask that you please stay until we come to break, and we're going to take pictures. So don't sneak off. Don't dash out.
All right, continuing in our recognitions, the Youth Drug Prevention Summit, which we all know took place. Mr. Michael Wyant and Mr. Brad Clemens.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Wyant.
Very happy to again come before you about the Youth Drug Summit and report, at least my opinion is that it was a resounding success. I'm going to ask Sarita to come up in just a moment, the star of the show, but we have a little surprise for Sarita as well. And I think this pretty much says it all, so hopefully the technology will work, and we'll have a video presentation. So.
Sarita's like,
Maybe it won't work. There we go.
To build something that really matters and make our voices heard. So thank you all for being part of building a new student culture.
And changing the student culture is what the first annual Youth Drug Summit was all about. With over 200 students in attendance from all schools in St. Mary's County, students were given facts, advice, and the responsibility of taking back to their schools what they learned.
There's a lot to the issue of drug use. Individually, we will all learn different things.
I hope the legacy that lives on is one where we all work together to change our culture.
Led by the student board member, Sarita Lee, a group of student leaders planned today filled with guest speakers, numerous agency resources, and even Jeopardy! At the end of the day, students were called to action, an action to change our future.
But today is about doing something. Today is about changing our student culture. It's about avoiding drugs, resisting that pressure, and being a real friend and better person by getting someone the help that they need.
The St. Mary's County Public School Drug Summit was made possible with the help of these supporting partners, including the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, the St. Mary's County Health Department, Sheriff's Office, Department of Aging and Human Services, Walden Behavioral Health of Southern Maryland, and the Behavioral Health Action Team of the Healthy St. Mary's Partnership.
And so with that, obviously, we would be very remiss if we did not recognize all the help that we received in putting this together. So Sarita, if you want to come up and join me. We have several student leaders and adult advisors leaders that were participants in a number of meetings that put all this together. Many of the students couldn't be here this evening, as happenstance would have it. There is a Student Government Association event at Hunt Valley. I know they all wanted to be here. So with as I call your name, if you're present, if you could please come up, and we have a certificate and a letter of thank you from Mr. Smith and Ms. Lee. So we'll start with the adult leaders and Dr. Mina Brewster from the Health Department. Matt Riesdorf, are you present? Matt was, okay. Dr. Brewster, we're going to ask you to stay on the red carpet here. It's like the Academy Awards this evening. So there we go. Dr. Charles Rizzo, is Charles here? Dr. Charles Rizzo? Come on up, Charles. Dr. Jeff Marr did a wonderful job with Jeopardy! Ms. Rhonda Harris helped us very much with evaluation of the conference. Mr. Gary Lynch from Walden Sierra. Walden was a huge part of our conference. And I know Laura Webb couldn't be here this evening, but accepting on behalf of Laura Webb is Ms. O'Brien. Ms. O'Brien, would you like to come up from Walden Sierra, please? And we'll give Sarita a certificate in just a little bit. So. Okay, and then most importantly, our students. I'll read all the names. I know there's several here this evening, but from Great Mills High School, and I know Ms. Quick McQueen is here this evening. I know we have Brianna LeBrack and Angela Ostner. Are you both present? Please come on up. Ms. Quick McQueen, if you could join us too, please. Also helping out from Great Mills was Anna Holmes and Daniela Moreira. From Leonardtown High School, I know Mrs. Montgomery is here this evening. We have Megan Burns. Is Megan here? Come on up, Megan. Vivian Fahn. Is Vivian here? No? Okay. We'll make sure she gets it. Tiffany Mask. And Rosie Click. Come on up, Rosie. Sarah Eusted. Sarah. And Allison Gaddis.
I know.
Maureen, are you going to join us? Thank you very much. I think Ms. Smith is here from Chopticon this evening, and the students that are here from Chopticon are Rachel Steelman. Rachel. And Mr. Harry Ballman. I know Harry's here. Come on up, Harry. So as I said, board members, many other helped with this. The sheriff's office, Captain Aliotto was actually, he called a little while ago. He was still in the airport in Florida, so he extends his apology. He was going to be here. He was going to plan to be here this evening. And of course, Sarita and everyone else with that. So one more round of applause, and then. So, Sarita, I don't know. Do you want to say a few words? Okay.
So all of this, everything with the Drug Summit, it started out with an idea that I had with the help of Mr. Wyatt and Mr. Smith, but really the students and community partners, that's how everything came together. When we had those meetings with the adult advisors, reaching out to adult advisors to help guide us through the planning process, as well as the students. So many of the ideas that were reflected in the Drug Summit itself came from students. So the Generation RX activity and the Jeopardy activity, all of that was planned and run by students, many of which are here tonight. So I would like to give a big thank you to all of the students and adult advisors. You inspire me to continue to lead these sort of projects. So just a huge thank you to all of you.
And I've asked Dr. Brewster, and I guess Ms. O'Brien, will you speak on behalf of Walden, if you don't, just a few words.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't prepare any remarks, but I think most of you have known and have heard already about the concern that we've had in our community and have been expressing many concerns around the issue of substance misuse and the need for greater efforts for substance misuse prevention and control. And I just have to say, I think this was a tremendous, tremendous event that I hope the student leaders who were involved will continue to build upon in the years to come. I think it really created a new energy that we hadn't seen before. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to capitalize upon and really change the culture, as you stated yourself. So thank you.
I'd really like to second that thought about changing the culture. I've been doing this work for several decades, working on the issues of substance abuse, and the student leadership that was present in that room and the student commitment to changing what we've been seeing in terms of the epidemic of drug use is really phenomenal, and it'll make our jobs a lot easier and make hopeful that some of us may retire someday, because we have these wonderful leaders coming forward, and we have a community that really cares, and it really having this be initiated and produced and participated in by our students to show that it is their lives that they are changing and that they're talking about. It's not adults talking at them, it's them talking to each other, and that is what's going to make a difference going forward. So we really want to commend you and thank you, and we're here to support in any way that we can.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. And that's it.
Okay, but I don't think no one moved, right?
Nobody moved.
Nobody moved. So
staying
they're
still
gonna
for
take
pictures?
a picture, yes.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I just would like to thank everyone, especially with the support within the within the high schools, the middle schools. I know you guys did pull some kids out of 8th grade, I believe, also. The staff, wherever Dr. Brewster and everyone
Far
is.
side over there.
I'm really short over here. So, just I think the community involvement was just excellent, and I echo everything. I hope it continues. So all right, don't move.
Don't wait.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't say enough positive things, and thank you, Ms. O'Brien, and thank you, Dr. Brewster, and thank you to the Sheriff's Department and the county commissioners and all the adults that help facilitate it. But it really is, young ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be your conversations that change the courses of your lives and your friends' lives. And we want to build on this. Legacy is a really important part of growing up. And it's the legacy that you leave behind. It's the way you leave the room after you've done your time in that room. I hope that you're going to carry this back to the schools. We're going to see things happen at the schools. This is an inaugural event that we bring back next year. And I've already spoken with Mr. Wyatt, and we're going to kind of reformulate the Safety and Security Advisory Committee meetings next year to be for students, by students, voiced by students, because I think that if we want to see change, it will come from you and through you, and you've set a fantastic and shining example. All of you are not only very dedicated people, but you're funny, and you are patient, and you are gracious in your work. You all share, and that's been very special to see. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And time for a photo after we take a break. When we take a break.
Yes, we are going to take like a 10-minute recess.
Okay.
Ready?
Rita, I'm really.
All right, we are reconvening.
I used to teach that.
Board of Education meeting. Next public hearing, we have none. Public comment. Oh, all right, get to read my statement. All right, are you ready? The board welcomes public input on policies and issues affecting our schools. The board takes time to listen and consider, but not to comment. This is not, however, the appropriate forum for negative comments or criticisms of individual staff or students. Concerns about individual staff members that cannot be resolved at the level closest to the situation should be directed to the superintendent. This board will not permit comments criticizing individual staff or students, since this is outside the scope of public comment. Additionally, the board sits as an appellate body in both student and employee appeals. The board cannot comment on or have prior knowledge of a case that would influence their ability to deliberate. To maintain the ability of the board to render a fair and unbiased decision, comments regarding individual student or personnel issues cannot be presented at public comment. Speakers must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and speakers may not yield their time to someone else. The board encourages speakers to present written statements to the board secretary, who will distribute copies to all board members. To the podium, ma'am.
Good evening, folks. My name is Megan Vincent. I've come tonight as a parent, and I've come to be a voice and a presence and an advocate for the staff and students at Dinard Elementary School. This is my first time here attending, and I thank you for the opportunity to present this in such a forum. We have a great school. We are tucked away in a small little cow pasture in Bushwood, Maryland, and I feel as though our school is fading into the forest, if you will. We have a lot of great teachers, we have a lot of great families, and a lot of fantastic students. However, our needs are on the rise, and our staff has decreased. I do understand there were budget cuts and for the current year, and we lost one teacher and one IRT. I know many schools lost a position. However, in reflection of our needs again, I believe the free and reduced lunch has increased 22% in the last 5 years. I'm an active parent, an active volunteer, and a certified sub in our school. And I very much feel there is need for greater staffing. Our teachers need fuller support. Our school needs better support. I just ask that when it comes time for the budgets, and I ask that you please draw greater attention to our school. Again, Dinard Elementary, great people there, great teachers. We really just need some more attention. Clearly, and my personal opinion, with our needs being on the rise, again, we don't have a very strong voice. I ask, that we please gain some greater attention to help these students and help these teachers. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would also like to thank you. We recently had a sub, I believe it is. My son sits in the 2nd grade, and we are one of the classes that has a higher number of students. And we've recently received a temporary sub, I believe, full-time sub. I'm not certain on the technicalities of the title, but someone to serve as a floater, if you will, to help out those 2nd grade teachers. And I know they are very appreciative of that additional support that you folks have provided. Thank you so much for this time, and please, when you're considering the budget, consider Dinard Elementary and our needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right, that's all. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'm seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move approval of the consent agenda as presented for the approval of minutes of March 11th, 2015.
All right, do I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Next item is Dr. Charles Ridgel, adjustments to the 2014-2015 school system operating calendar.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, schools in Maryland are required by law to be open 180 days. With that, this current school year, we have been closed 7 days so far for inclement weather. We had built in to the schedule calendar that you had approved last year 5 days for inclement weather. Those are all in June at the end of the year. Consequently, we need to add 2 additional days in order to make the 180. One of those that we propose and bring before you is to make Friday, May 1st, a school day. It is currently a day for the professional development, for meetings to take place, the transitioning and all of students. So that would become a student day. Head Start and pre-kindergarten students would attend that day as well. Then the 7th, the other makeup day, would be an additional day at the end of the year, Wednesday, June 17th. This would be an early dismissal day. That would then make the last day for teachers on Friday, June the 19th. And for the Chesapeake Public Charter School, they would also have school on Wednesday, May 1st, or Friday, May 1st, and they would have school also on Wednesday, May 20th. May 20th was one of the days of their May break that they have. It was 20th, 21st, 22nd. They will pull the 20th out of the May break and make that a school day. So the last day for teachers then at the charter school would be Thursday, June the 18th. Any questions of the proposed changes for your consideration? Mrs. Crosby.
I was just fooling around this morning, and I thought I heard on the news that it's in the state legislature, I believe, to give Dr. Lowry the power to waive some of those days. Did you hear that yet? Because they said the school systems that get to them first, well, you know, you have to plan and get to them and request the waiver and all that. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not heard anything about that in terms of waivers. Normally, the waivers go to the school systems who have lost an extensive number of days.
Mm-hmm.
Given we have 5 days built in already,
Mhm.
and we're only short 2,
Well, that's.
and May 1st, we have indicated, recall when you passed the calendar a year ago, that there was the possibility of using that day.
Very good, thank you.
Since the addition of June 17th, the proposed addition would be a 2-hour early dismissal day, would any of the current end-of-year early dismissal days become a full days, or is it just an addition of an early dismissal day?
That would make Friday, June the 12th, a full day of school.
Okay.
There are still only 3 at the end.
Good question. All right, Mrs. Weaver.
No, I don't have any.
Any question?
Good job, Dr. Ridgel.
Ms. Allen?
The waiver actually came up at yesterday's state board meeting, and the State Board of Education granted Dr. Lowry, the state superintendent, the authority to, on a case-by-case basis, determine whether or not it was appropriate to grant waivers to for days missed. The number of days missed varies across the state, anywhere from 5 to 15 days, with the greatest number having been lost in Garrett and Allegheny counties. The state board reiterated their firm belief, as did Dr. Lowry, in the importance of 180 days and using the waivers very, very judiciously. They tend to look at school systems who add days into their calendar with the understanding that if those days are not needed, that they would be given, those days would go back. If school systems don't choose to do that, the state board tends to look less favorably upon them. And it's because we do add those 5 days and then the additional day as during the school year is a potential makeup day that if we were to apply for a waiver would be considered. But from Mr. Smith, what I'd like to understand, because we're adding an extra day at the end of the year, to me that's not going to be meaningful instructional time. So when you add these days, how are you going to ensure that it is meaningful and that our teachers are getting things out of it, our students are getting things out of it, rather than just a check in the box?
Yeah. And thank you for the question. With this particular calendar, as Sarita has referenced, Friday would be a half day, or would be an early dismissal. With this addition of Wednesday, it means that that last full week of school for students is a full week of school with full days all the way to the end, to Friday. So meaningful instruction all the way through that week. Then when they come back, the last 3 days will be half days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that allows for a lot of the things that happen at the end of the year that may not be, and I'm going to say it on the record, may not be as instructionally relevant as events that take place earlier. Those last 3 half days are traditionally when we have our field trips, our promotion ceremonies, our awards recognitions, all of these things. So by adopting this calendar and taking advantage of the way this is laid out, we can really do the business of school all the way up to that last Friday, have a lovely weekend, come back and enjoy our last 3 days together with our students, half days, and putting that together. I do feel, as does the state board and Lillian Lowry, 180 days is 180 days is 180 days. And I know that, you know, snow days, everybody loves a snow day. I love a snow day. But 180 days. Kids go 180 days, teachers work 190 days. I feel very strongly that that's what we have to do. I do think that if we continue to have the weather events that we have later in the year, February and March, perhaps we need to start talking about looking at another day somewhere that we might be able to use, so we don't find ourselves necessarily in this situation.
And that was my other point is, I know that I had brought this up a couple of years ago when we talked about the calendar and asked that, is at one time we only added the 5 days to the end of the year as potential makeup days. And then when we started having, I think, Snowmageddon,
right.
In 2010, the decision was we would add yet another day within the body of the school year, but it came at the expense of a professional development day or an articulation day for teachers, which is a problem in and of itself.
Right.
I don't want us to get up to a point where we're, you know, a week or two before spring break and suddenly telling people at any point in any particular year, oh, well, we're going to have to make a change here. People make plans, and I respect those plans. So what I would like to really advocate yet again for is in future calendars, let's consider designating another day up in February or sometime so that if we find ourselves earlier in the year because of hurricanes or whatever, that
Certainly.
we have used up some of our days, that we judiciously look at whether it's appropriate, even though we might not have used 5 days, to make up a day when it's before, so students are getting good instruction before they have to take AP exams. And some of the other important accountability tools that we have, or SATs or whatever it is, give them that instructional time they need. So I know that we have a line at the bottom of the calendar that says, and other days as needed, but that doesn't, I don't think that allows families to plan as well as when they see, yes, this could be used as a makeup day. And I'm all about contingency planning. It goes back to my nursing days. If you have a plan, you almost never have to put it into practice. If you don't have a plan,
it's going to happen.
that's when everything blows up.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
thanks. Those are my questions. I appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Then I am seeking a motion to adjust the 2014-15 school system operating calendar.
I move that the Board of Education make the adjustments to the 2014-2015 school system calendars as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, print shop machine equipment leased and maintenance program adoption. Mr. Clements, and who else do we have? Mr. Ashley Varner and Ms. Vicki Mayo.
PSPPQ.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ashley Barner, Director of Operations for the school system. Thank you for allowing me to come today and speak to you a little bit about our print shop. Since July, when operations assumed full management of print shop, and considering our current lease, 5-year lease ends on March 31st next week, we began a process of due diligence to kind of examine what are our best options moving forward. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit here about how we got where we are today, and perhaps discuss in detail a recommendation for you for moving forward to satisfy the printing needs for our school district with regards to print shop over the next 5 years. Quickly, print shop at a glance. This will be our third 5-year lease for print shop equipment. The first of which happened before my time with the department. We leased RICO equipment, and I've been told by several sources that RICO equipment really didn't meet the needs of the school district in several different ways. The second 5-year lease, which we are finishing right now, we moved to Konica Minolta equipment, and fortuitously, that equipment has proven to be of much better quality and has met our needs over that 5-year period. Current equipment that we have has indeed reached the end of its useful cycle of life, necessitating the need for a lease for new equipment. Part of that involves the natural life cycle of this type of equipment. Part of that is due to some overuse of that equipment, which happened during the past 5 years, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we continue. Print shop is currently staffed with 2 full-time employees, a print shop operator and a print shop clerk, both full-time. Delivery of print jobs that are generated and taken care of through print shop is handled through operations through our delivery system. And as I mentioned, we're now centrally managed within the operations department as of last July. As you can see, based on the available resources that we have regarding overall printing output during the 5-year period of the current lease that's ending, the amount of image reproductions that we are producing on an annual basis has risen and continues to rise. I'm going to speak a little bit more as we move forward, but this next 5-year lease, one of the mandatory things that we're going to be doing is a more active management of managing that overall printing volume, so that we don't find ourselves in a position where we're paying for overages if we go over certain printing limits for these machines. Our projected workload moving forward for the next 5 years is based on guidelines established by equipment providers for how much workload these machines can handle. We anticipate printing all SMCPS state and county assessments that our students are taking using paper pencil. Necessary SMCPS documents, including code of conduct, school calendar, lunch menus, things like that, and school-based or school-generated projects or jobs over 250 image reproductions. A little bit about how we got here. We delved pretty deeply into the information we had about print shop last summer, and we found we kept coming across variables that, for lack of a better word, were a little bit hard to predict. Machine overuse, I mentioned, happened. Equipment that we leased 5 years ago doesn't have the technological advancements of equipment that is currently available, and we had a general lack of data, which isn't what you want when you're trying to project your printing needs moving forward for the next 5 years. In addition to that, Technology is growing. Every year more and more students are taking assessments, computer-based on iPads and things like that. And predicting where that's going is also difficult for us to do. So considering all of these things, all of these unknowns, we decided to kind of embark on a grassroots investigation into what the district's printing needs are, what our alternatives are, in order to make what we believe to be the most sound decision for the next period of time to meet the district's printing needs. One of the first things we did with the help of fiscal services was put together a request for information to investigate outsourcing printing to other vendors instead of having our own equipment that we lease and operate here. Not many, but several school districts regionally have gone to this for different reasons. So we put out an RFI, and we included 5 typical print jobs that we do, including the school code of conduct, and several assessments. The results of that told us overwhelmingly that the outsourcing of printing instead of leasing or using our own equipment was not going to be the most fiscally responsible. On every single item, all vendor information came back higher than we could produce ourselves. We got to work right away after knowing that we were in all likelihood going to be entering into another equipment lease or purchase, into establishing some ways where we could increase accountability of usage, responsibility of usage, more data tracking. We worked with the IT department, and they built for us a responsibility approval portal. For any job submitted to the print shop has to have supervisory checkoff on it. In the past, pretty much carte blanche. If it was sent over, we would print it without consideration as to whether it was curriculum-based or what exactly the print job was. We put a limitation so we didn't go over, as you saw on the previous slide, with the rising output from print shop. We had to put some handcuffs on how much we were doing, or else we were going to burn our machines out and be forced to pay overages at the end of the term. So, as mentioned previously, we have a 250 image reproduction limit on print job submissions, and that has effectively curbed the output in the print shop to more fiscally and logistically manageable levels. We've also been working with IT as they manage the contract for the office and school-based copy, scanning, printing machines. And we look forward to working with them in the future to kind of work together to kind of predict and manage the district's printing needs. We were fortunate in our search to find a cooperative purchasing agreement which utilizes a municipal leasing vehicle. We're able to lease print shop equipment with relative same capability that we have right now through the Keystone Purchasing Network for actual pretty much the same amount of money, and I'll show you that in a few minutes here, which was very advantageous for us. We elected to propose Meridian Image Solutions as our vendor to provide this equipment through this purchasing opportunity. Meridian is the vendor that we have used the last 5 years. And a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we chose to stay with Meridian. Number one, it's hard to find a company with a better customer service and support record than they have. I mentioned some of our errors in judgment, I'll call it, as far as overuse of machinery. They've worked with us, not against us, not blaming us for those decisions. They have, I'll skip down the slide a little bit, their tech support is there at a moment's notice. We haven't missed a day of production due to waiting for a technician to arrive to service a machine. They are with us, providing information. Their new equipment has an increased ability to track data in a variety of different ways that we look forward to helping us manage overall print shop output over the next 5 years. We've arranged to have quarterly planning meetings with their representatives to discuss those printing outputs on all 5 of the machines, how that fits into our overall output and to plan usage that way. The Konica Minolta equipment I mentioned we're very pleased with. Meridian stands behind that equipment 100%. And they're local. We call, they're there 5 minutes later, seemingly from time to time. Here's a quick look at the proposed equipment refresh. It involves a central controlling system. I'm not going to get into a lot of the specifics here. On the machine that communicates, that our operators can work on one system, and it communicates with the other machines and gives feedback and takes direction. We have 4 of these Press 1250 machines for black and white printing mostly, scan, copy, and finishing, 1 machine that handles color. The main difference in this particular setup as opposed to the one we have now, we do have the ability to do inline binding now. We found out in this most recent lease that having the inline binder inside one of our machines that we produce high volume black and white, not the best idea. Because even if you're not binding, all the paper and some of the supplies needed to produce black and white copy roll through and degrade that machinery. Meridian suggested that we go with an extra one of these machines, the 1250s, put the inline binder inside that, therefore the only jobs going through there will be binding. The beauty in that is that at the end of the 5-year period, we anticipate minimal usage on that machine. We can purchase that for $1 and then hopefully gain usage out of that moving forward past this 5-year lease. Here's a look at cost comparisons of where we are and where we like to go. Currently in blue, proposed costs. In red, this is regarding the lease as well as the monthly maintenance program that goes with the lease. And you can see in numbers what this cooperative purchasing agreement and municipal lease has allowed us to do for our equipment lease payment. It's actually a little bit lower than what we're paying right now for the same capability and a slightly increased overall output yearly. Our monthly maintenance program payment is going up a little bit. There's an extra machine to care for now, and also we're including all the staples that we use, which may seem like a minor expense, but you wouldn't believe the staples we go through. Last year we had trouble finding staples. That comes out, and you can see for 5 years between purchases of the maintenance program payment, that's not a bad increase. A little bit more about the maintenance program. The maintenance program is run through Meridian Image Solutions. It includes all parts, labor, supplies. Toner is included in that, as well as the staples, as I mentioned. Little breakdown here about how that works. The maintenance costs are built off of a per-click rate based on whether you're doing black and white, color. The projected volume for these machines, 21 million and 25,000 black and white, 250,000 color image reproductions. It's our job to manage that so that we don't go over that to infer extra costs as well as degrade these machines further, so we don't have to use increased tech support for that. In a quick summary, I talked about a lot of changes and advantages. This is just a quick summary of some of those. I guess the overall point I'd like to make is that, the past 5 years has shown us that we had some great equipment, but where we need to improve ourselves is in the active, aggressive management of that equipment, managing that overall output of that equipment. We feel confident with Meridian Image Solutions that they are a partner with us in that. They understand, having worked with us, the needs that we have as a school district. They understand that those needs often change and alter from year to year, month to month, week to week sometimes. And they have worked with us, and we believe that they'll be a great partner for us moving forward in this proposed additional 5-year lease of print shop equipment. Couple more points I just want to bring to your attention. We are actively looking at different ways to curtail overall printing altogether. We're working with several departments here at Moakley to come up with a procedure where SMCPS families can elect to receive certain documents in electronic format, much like you would receive some from banking institutions and different vendors like that. They would receive that information through email, saving us some time and money and resources in the print shop. I believe last year about 72 to 75% of what we printed they weren't school-based jobs, they were district printings, things like that. So that would definitely save us. In addition, we're excited to be moving to a different location that has more space for us. It would increase our efficiency in storing supplies, moving things around, and transferring completed print jobs, especially the large ones, from our print shop to delivery vehicles and getting them out to the schools and office locations. That is the end of my presentation, and I welcome any questions that you have about that.
Sarita?
No questions. Thank you for the information.
Mrs. Crosby?
Sounds good to me. It told me everything I ever wanted or needed to know. Well, needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
You're very welcome.
Mrs. Weedham?
Yes, I have questions.
I'll cross mine off if you go through yours. How about that?
Okay, so you're projecting 5.2 million over what it's been in the past. And you're saying about the state and county assessments, but I know that those are on the computer. So, but you're including that in your workload, and I guess I was just kind of wondering why.
In terms of output,
right,
moving forward, the slide I think you're referring to is up here. This one?
Mm-hmm.
This information. Sorry. This is projected for last fiscal year, partially because we had been printing carte blanche and print shop. We kind of suspended, given last spring's budget situation, we kind of suspended a lot of the jobs coming through. Our job is to curtail that and bring that back down underneath 21 million so that we do not go over the prescribed ceilings for this equipment.
So you
next
basically
year.
stopped counting? Is that what?
No, I don't think we stopped counting. Our ability to count and how that was being managed didn't allow us to get the information that we needed to put an accurate number up there. It's the best way for me to say that.
If I may, that's a staggeringly large number, 2.5 million copies. You're like, oh my gosh. But there are 18,000 kids, and 18,000 kids attending 180 days, and that breaks down to 7.5 copies per child per day. So if you're in a high school, that means that every class that you go to throughout a day, you'll receive one or maybe two pieces of paper in that day.
Okay.
And that, that's pretty much what you receive, I do think that there's a lot of room for being more efficient, certainly on a system level.
Definitely.
A lot of the things that we print and send out are things that we have always historically printed and sent out, and I do think we have an opportunity to say, do we really need to print and send out 18,000 copies of this, or 9,000 copies of this, when it may be a much more appropriate resource to have it available online and searching, and then only run off half that number for the people who don't wish to, access the resource online.
My other question is for the, I know that the color copies are more costly. Is there like any sort of criteria or policy or anything when people are coming in, you say, maybe we should do that in black and white, or?
As of now, no. We're definitely exploring. Obviously, we plan on copying and printing, reproducing a lot less color images. And almost all assessments are printed without color, which is why we have a lower limit on that. We don't have anything in place right now that addresses that point. However, we are actively pursuing different ways to do that. That approval portal I mentioned earlier, I think, is one way to have site administrators and department heads make that decision, or help make that decision, or confirm the request, perhaps. Change the request.
And two-color printing, some of this kind of sneaks by. So if you're printing out an email that somebody sent to you and they have their signature in blue, that's a color copy. So the whole document might be in black, but the signature line has something that somebody's put in colorfully in blue. That's a color copy. When we think of color, we usually think of, something dramatic and vivid, but it could be something as simple as you've got 2 words on them in a different color, and that's a color copy.
That was one of the statements I was going to, that we found, especially with our school copiers, that color's counting on a color click every time.
Yeah.
I think the other thing of the numbers that we have, being able to put these measures in place to help curtail and go to more paperless, if these machines in 5 years are only doing the 15 or under that, at the end of the 5 years, as Mr. Varner mentioned, we can buy each machine for $1. So the life we could go on with the machines paid for, maybe another year or 2 or something, because our demands are less because we've gone paperless in a lot more of the items. So, but we didn't want to cut the system short as we're converting over, because once you go over those numbers, it's quite more expensive.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I think the electronic delivery of items to parents would be fabulous. No offense, I get 2 copies of the school lunch menu every month, and one of them goes in the trash. Really sorry, but it's just there's a lot of duplicity. Same thing. I received 2 school calendars. I received 2 school student handbooks. I received double of everything that is communicated out. So.
We've
Mr.
actually
Clements is
discussed
coming
that as
back.
well. I'm sorry.
No, he's coming back.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to, and I'm sure Ashley was going to share the same thing. We've talked about this, and maybe at the open houses, allowing to give a form to parents and all, and saying, if you'd like to receive this information, electronically, please fill out.
Well, in some of the
And
schools,
trying
they
to
do
do
that
it. Yeah.
because, grade, specific graded newsletters, I all get now through email. I don't get a hard copy that comes home. So, I think on a, for district-wide,
Now we need to move
information.
to the district
Right,
level
I
versus
think,
the school.
right, I
And the
think that would
duplicity
be.
you spoke of, we need to address as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
We're actively pursuing solutions
Right.
for that as well.
And then I just have a question. So when you move your print shop to the newer location, did that increase your turnaround time for print jobs?
The main factor in it, the ag building that's been referred to there, was used for the last 15 years as we temporary house students on our site as the cafeteria gym.
Okay.
And we're not going to be doing that. We don't, we renovated everything. So it's available. And the main thing it's going to help with is right now we stash paper and supplies for the print shop all over the place. And hopefully with this, we'll be able to keep everything in one place, freeing up some more room in our warehouse for operations or food service, long-term storage so that we can move more food in or things at that time. So it's really going to help combine, and the big thing it's doing is putting the paper and all the supplies in the same location.
Okay.
Versus now, if you go up there, we've got it in the warehouse, we have it trailers, we have it all over, so.
Okay.
Plus,
And
it's
this
just being
will
moved
allow-
across a parking lot, so it's not like it's in, Bethune, and now
Well,
we're moving it.
No, it's all on the site, but
Right.
it does take somebody, then a forklift to bring
Right.
over,
The crate. The
10
yeah.
for the next 2 days, and the next day they gotta bring another 10 over.
Right. Okay.
And things of that nature, so it's just helping in that fashion. And it'll also then allow within our building, room to expand some of the offices, especially food service. They're all in one room,
Okay.
and it's 5 of them, so.
Okay. Okay. Still have Mrs. Washington.
I think we need to continue to explore ways to become a more paperless society. And some of the efforts you're doing are good, and we have to continue to look at that because our numbers are increasing. And if the trend is the way society is going, the number should be a smaller number. Instead, we are increasing each year, and this could be more money that we could use in other areas of the school system and funding our budget. So we have to really come up with some more creative ideas to do it. See what other systems are doing to become more paperless. Because there are many parents who would rather receive it electronically
Absolutely.
versus a paper copy. And the manpower to do that, the equipment, the rental, the paper, transportation of it, the warehouse it. We need to do better. We need to come up with some better ideas. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, that and the idea that the expectation that our children actually bring things home to us and they actually come out of those backpacks. Not always. So I would like to see, and I would like to see us go to either electronic delivery or Dropbox or something whereby and I'd almost like to see it where people are directed to the school system website and they can click on the link and get it there, because that's another portal of information, and I think it would be a way for us to utilize it even better. And I would imagine that in terms of the code of conduct, I know there are pieces that students have to sign and return and parents have to sign and return. But presumably that would be relatively easy either to document electronically or they would print out a page and sign it and send it in. I would much rather see that. Not only is it saving us, but it's saving all those households that have stacks and stacks and stacks of paper piling up.
It would clean off a lot of refrigerators.
And a lot of it can be signed electronically.
Right.
You sign real estate contracts electronically, listing agreements electronically. They could sign it electronically versus running off a piece of paper, signing it, and sending it back. So, you know, we have some things to explore.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
A lot of work to do.
And this may be a little off topic, but talking about the code of conduct, I know we go through it at the beginning of the school year. I thought.
No, I look forward to your contribution.
We go through it at the beginning of the school year, and we all receive a copy of the code of conduct. But I was thinking if we could just use the iPads to just go through the code of conduct, that might work.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
There you
Just the last is, keep in mind that our increased copy rate is proportional and related to the fact that we have not had a textbook adoption of a meaningful measure for the last 8 years. And what teachers do, very good teachers do, is they find contemporary resources to put in the hands of children, and more often than not, that's gonna require them to go and print that resource out, and that will be the thing that travels home with children. So all of these things can be money can fix everything. But you know, this is
So could bring your own device.
So it could bring your own
something
device.
that we probably need to explore as
Yes.
other school systems across the state are.
Yes.
go. One budget year at a time.
and bandwidth and infrastructure and wireless access points and braided network switches and all that other, yes.
It just shows again that how it would be more cost effective that each student were to be issued an iPad.
1-to-1, yeah, sure.
One-to-one versus.
1-to-1 is always going to be.
And when you add up the textbook savings, you would cost, the paper, and if you did a study of that, you probably see it'll be more cost effective to give each student an iPad.
That's probably right. Or subsidize them, or have the county government subsidize them in some
Well,
way to do
I
that.
mean, we could look at creative ways of getting funding. I mean,
Right.
you don't know. I mean, we have to think, like they say, we don't have a box.
Right,
Thinking
we don't,
outside the
no,
box.
yeah.
We left the box a long time
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
All right, are there any more comments regarding
No
copiers?
Paper.
Other than the fact that staples are included, that's fantastic.
Right.
Mr. Clements doesn't want to hear about staples. Staples, staples, staples.
All right, then I am seeking a motion, please.
I motion that the St. Mary's County Public School Board of Education approve the presented contract proposal for the 60-month lease of the new Conica Minolta equipment for the print shop to D. Lage Landon, DLL, and a contract to Meridian Imaging Solutions, MIS, for the 60-month maintenance program to efficiently service the new leased equipment.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Varner.
All right, Mr. Clements. Who else? Mr. Larry Hartwick, purchase of furniture.
Cycles, we go in cycles.
Good evening, board members. This action tonight is requesting your approval to use the Baltimore Regional Cooperative Purchasing Committee bid number 2008-1 for the purchase of student desks for the general classroom for the phase 2 of the limited renovation and addition at Spring Ridge Middle School. Furniture selection, like all phases of our projects, we collaborate greatly with school administrators and teachers. Ms. Fulp was here earlier, and that was certainly the case at Spring Ridge, where we brought down a number of samples the teachers can look at. And through that process, this particular desk, the Sigma Series desk, was selected as the preferred general classroom desk for that project. We actually first evaluated this desk during the Leonardtown Middle School project, and it got very favorable reviews in that process. The teachers and staff at Leonardtown Middle School wanted a combination desk, so, but at Spring Ridge, they definitely wanted a separate desk and a separate chair because they want to do a lot of groupings, and that provides a lot more flexibility in the classroom arrangements. Verco Furniture, the manufacturer that we're proposing here, has been widely used through the school system over the years. At schools like Carver and Margaret Brent, the Verco products were almost exclusively used. And one of the ways we kind of evaluate durability is that we check with our maintenance department, because the maintenance department gets those repair orders, and there have been no failures that they know of at those two schools, and it's probably approaching over 10 years at those schools. The Sigma Series desk by Verco does have a 10-year warranty. And just a little more background, Verco is the largest manufacturer and supplier of K-12 furniture in the country. They have a strong reputation for quality. One of the reasons for that is they really control their whole manufacturing process. They literally manufacture their own steel tubing. They manufacture their own tops. They do their own chroming. And those are all things other manufacturers tend to outsource. Our proposal tonight is to use the Baltimore Regional bid for this procurement. This bid essentially functions as kind of a statewide contract. It's heavily used by state agencies as well as LEAs, Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Howard, Calvert, and Charles all use it for major renovation and new construction. You probably ask yourself, well, why didn't we bid this? I can tell you from experience that the pricing on this contract is exceptional. In 2009, we went through the process of bidding all the furniture at Evergreen Elementary School. It took an enormous amount of time. It took over 3 months. We actually hired an interior design firm to help us with that. When we got the bid numbers back, they were pretty comparable to the Baltimore Regional contract, and in a few cases, we actually paid a little bit more. Bidding is a very intensive process, both in human resources for us procuring it, and for the bidders, quite frankly. I think it really demonstrates the value of cooperative purchase agreement, especially where those agreements are leveraging a lot of users, as it is under this contract. We did, and our board policy also encourages us to use cooperative purchasing agreement. We did use it, the same contract, for Leonardtown Middle School, and we are going to propose to use it for Captain Walter Francis Duke as well. The Baltimore Regional contract was competitively bid. You can see from the documents that we provided, it was a multi-step procurement where proposers have to submit their technical qualification, and only those proposers that are deemed qualified were allowed to bid. The bids were based on a discount off of published prices from the manufacturer. And those prices include delivery, assembly, installation at the school as well, so it's inclusive. Duron, based in Owings Mill, Maryland, holds the award for the Verco products, and Duron also, over the years, has done a number of projects for us and has proven to be a reliable and capable dealer for us. The stated bid from Duron on this contract is 59.2%. The contract does allow for higher discounts based on actual orders, and you can see in the proposal that we provided you that the discount on this proposal is 62%, and that equates to about $2,000 saving over what was mandated. So, and finally, I mean, this is a great value. We're paying just over $132 per desk. We paid more for that at Evergreen in 2009. So it's, and finally, I know we've shared a lot of documents with you on this procurement, but it is an important one. There are other items that don't have as long lead times in phase 2 at Spring Ridge and at Captain Walter Francis Duke. We have a full school to basically furnish. So we are proposing to use this particular contract for those procurements and wanted to make sure you were comfortable with the contract. So with that, I'll take your questions.
I may have missed it in the documents, but this does cover like the whole building desks requirements.
I'm sorry, could you speak up a little?
I'm sorry. I may have missed this in the documents attached, but this does cover like all of the desks for the building, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble there.
Actually, I believe it's, they're going to bring it back again.
Yeah, this is current phase 2,
Right.
but we would use the contract for all the future phases at Spring Ridge.
Oh,
And so, you know, Mr. Hardwick just talked about the contract. So you, from between now and July, Mr. Hardwick will be back before you with a lot of furniture for Spring Ridge, but also all of the Captain Duke.
Okay.
But it would be used for the same, yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Crosby?
I'm just looking at the, okay, that's fine, very good.
Mrs. Weaver?
For once, I did not have any questions for you, Mr. Clemens, which was a shocker, I'm sure. But thank you for providing all that information. I did go through it. You even had the pictures, the past bids, the current bid, prices, everything. And thank you so much for doing that. It was very helpful. The other thing too, and thank you for wording at the bottom that you're going to need this $75,000 in the future, but you will come back to us for that. So thank you for changing the wording around on that.
I gave Mr. Hardwick a gold star.
Oh,
for
yes,
his
he
work
did.
on this.
I sent an email. I says, believe it or not, this time I have no questions on this one. So
Right.
Thank you.
Right. I echo Mrs. Weaver's sentiment. The you know, the backup documentation was fabulous, and you know, it did not, any questions that I did have going through, it was, you know, were easily answered. So very good job. Thank you. Mrs. Washington?
All my questions were answered in the documentation that you provided. Thank you.
Same for me.
Okay. Mr. Smith, do you have any final remarks?
No, I do not. Thank you. That's I will attest to the durability of the product. It is fantastically durable.
All right, then I am seeking a motion to approve the purchase of furniture.
I move that the Board of Education approve the use of the Baltimore Regional Cooperative Purchasing Committee's bid number 2008-01 with Duron for student desks at Spring Ridge Middle School in the amount of $27,850.20.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, we have no informational items at this meeting. So the next regular board meeting will be on Wednesday, April 8th at 9 a.m. Enjoy spring break. It's intact.
Yes, it is. It's a full spring break. Please enjoy your time. Come back ready to take all of our lovely assessments that conclude our year.